Good morning, I'm Lauren Osborne. Today's Sunday, May 1st. Let's check in with meteorologist Arden Gregory for a look at your forecast this morning. Well, if you've looked outside or walked outside, it's not very nice out there. No, we have had a number of showers and storms move through the area overnight, and we're seeing quite a bit of flooding across eastern Kentucky now. Pinpoint Doppler showing that we are still seeing moderate to heavy rain across many portions of eastern Kentucky. And as I mentioned, we do have a number of flood advisories and flood warnings out across eastern Kentucky. You can see there a flash flood warning in West Virginia, another one down in Bell County, Knox and Whitley County, and then an aerial flood warning stretching all the way from almost to London, stopping right there almost to the line, and then moving all the way up through Pike County, that entire region there. So again, a number of flood warnings out there. So definitely take care if you are headed out there across eastern Kentucky. And we do still have a chance that we could see some storms as we go through the rest of the day. Observed rainfall just since midnight, we have put down over an inch in many locations. That is why we are seeing so much flooding. And temperature-wise, we are starting out fairly mild this morning in the lower 60s across eastern Kentucky. As we go through the rest of your day, we're going to top out in the upper 70s, but keep in mind the flooding and the storm possibilities. I'll update you on all that in just a little bit. Arden, thank you. A Clay County man faces attempted murder charges after state police say he shot his girlfriend several times. Police say 52-year-old Samuel Cornett of Manchester shot his girlfriend, 35-year-old Alicia Ty. We're told Ty ran from her home and to a neighbor's on Skull Branch Road to get away from her boyfriend, but he followed her and forced himself into the neighbor's home. When Samuel Cornett found her, police say he fired at Ty several times, shooting her. Emergency officials flew her to UK Medical Center in critical condition. Cornett is facing charges of attempted murder and burglary, among other things. Kentucky State Police are investigating a single car crash that happened yesterday afternoon in Rowan County. Officials say around 3:15, 49-year-old Linda Davis of Hillsboro crossed over the lanes of Kentucky 158 in Sharkey and crashed into a ditch. We're told Davis was taken to St. Clair Regional Medical Center in Moorhead to be treated for minor injuries. Emergency officials transported 2 people to the hospital Friday night after a DUI crash in Johnson County. Sheriff's deputies say the single car crash happened on US 23 before 9 Friday night. The passenger, Kara Imes from Ohio, was airlifted to Pikeville Medical Center in serious condition. The driver, Josh Johnson from Ohio, was injured as well. Officials cited Johnson for driving under the influence.
The vehicle had went off the roadway. The preliminary investigation showed it did hit a rock wall, causing the vehicle to flip several times. Did come to a resting point against the rock wall. The passenger was trapped in the vehicle. She had to be removed by firefighters.
Deputies say both the driver and passenger are expected to be okay. Well, remembering a man gone too soon. Yesterday, friends and family celebrated the life of one Harlan County native and district judge. Last week, Judge Jeff Brock died at the age of 55 after battling with cancer. I attended Brock's memorial service yesterday along with many others who came together to honor a beloved leader. Crowds laughed and cried in memory of Jeff Brock Saturday.
Today, as we celebrate his life, we want to celebrate his love.
Hundreds gathered to remember a father, a husband, a judge, and a friend who left too soon.
It shows you how many people really cared about Jeff Brock. Jeff knew no strangers, and he was just, people loved him. His love was infectious. It just overflowed.
Friends who spoke say he was a true family man who cared deeply for his community, a man who served as a district judge among many other things, who friends say always had a smile on his face.
Someone like Jeff Brock is irreplaceable. They just don't make folks like him anymore, and that's the truth.
I don't think you can find a truer person in this country as Jeff Brock.
As friends and family celebrate the life of an angel, now watching them from heaven. In lieu of flowers, his family is asking that contributions be made to the Judge Jeffrey J. Brock Memorial Education Fund. After a lengthy investigation, Kentucky State Police arrested a Pike County man at his home on Thursday. Troopers say 53-year-old Paul Sneed of Shelbania had prescription pain medication, cocaine, and firearms in his home, along with about $4,200 in cash. Police arrested Sneed for possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. They say drug charges are pending. He is now in the Pike County Detention Center. 4 days later, police are still searching for a Knox County inmate. We're told 35-year-old Dale Valentine was on work release on Wednesday afternoon when he took off. He was arrested about a year ago on drug charges and faces fleeing or evading charges after allegations from back in February. Valentine is scheduled for a trial on June 9th. Knox County officials tell us Valentine has family in Corbin, but his last known address is in London. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you can call 911. Friday, Laurel County Sheriff's deputies arrested a man they say was driving drunk on Interstate 75. They say 40-year-old Kendall Browning Jr. of East Bernstadt had open alcoholic drink containers in his car, and that Browning admitted to drinking several beers earlier in the day. Deputies charged him for DUI and reckless driving and several other traffic violations. He is now in the Laurel County Detention Center. Nearly 4 million Nissan cars are being recalled due to major safety problems where passenger airbags or seat belts could fail in a crash. Officials from Nissan North America Incorporated say the first problem is with the sensor that detects if the front passenger seat is occupied. The issue can have the computer incorrectly think that an adult is a child or classify the seat as empty, turning off the airbag. A number of models are affected, including the Maxima, Altima, Leaf, Sentra, Pathfinder, and some Infiniti models. A second problem affects Sentra models' front seat child restraint system, which might cause airbags to inflate when they shouldn't. Nissan says it will notify owners and fix the issues free of charge. All this week, we've been profiling the winners of the year's East Kentucky Leadership Awards, and last night, WYMT's Tanner Hesterberg sat down with the winner of the Youth Leadership Award, William Louis Roach Barrett, a college student with a career that already has him literally shooting for the stars.
Most college students use electronic devices every day, but William Louis Roach Barrett actually builds them, programs them, and studies them. And some of his work is out of this world.
When I was a kid, I had always loved the concept of space. I wanted to be an astronaut, or if it wasn't possible to be an astronaut, to at least be involved in this field in some way.
Getting involved in that field did not take long for the 21-year-old Menifee County native, who has his own office at Morehead State University's Ronald Eaglin Space Science Center.
The older I got, it's as if all of the puzzle pieces kind of fell into place. So it basically, I got to combine my passion for technology with my passion for Eastern Kentucky. And when you combine your love for a region with your love for what you do, I just couldn't see myself doing anything else, really. I feel like it's what I was born to do.
Roach Barrett is a junior at MSU, but boasts a resume that would make some career scientists jealous. He designed software that allows him to measure spin rates of satellites in orbit and use magnets to control them. Another one of his software programs enabled a satellite 10,000 feet above the Earth's surface to record video. Experiences he is able to share when he travels across Eastern Kentucky, teaching computer science to elementary, middle, and high school students.
To kind of get the opportunity to work with organizations like NASA that you hear about as a kid and that inspire this creativity and the passion really does it for me. But I'm a computer scientist, but I also love kind of reaching out and connecting with people. So when I have the opportunity to go out and teach and to kind of take my skills and not only turn them into products, but also educate the next generation, it's phenomenal.
Perhaps his most phenomenal achievement has yet to blast off. The Lunar Ice Cube satellite, built by members of Morehead State's Space Science program, will investigate water on the surface of the moon. Roach Barrett and others in the program also constructed a satellite that will measure energy residue in space believed to have been left behind by the Big Bang.
You helped design a satellite that could tell us more about the origins of the universe.
We are doing groundbreaking research that nobody else has ever done. And Morehead State University was selected out of dozens and dozens of projects from all over the United States. But we were so good at what we did that we were selected to build this satellite, and now we're going to be one of the first people to launch on a new rocket to the moon.
Roach Barrett is humbled to receive an award from the East Kentucky Leadership Foundation.
I mean, it's an honor to be awarded or to get an award for something that you do that you love. And just the fact that I've received this is just, it's a very great honor, and I feel like it's good confirmation that I'm on the right track and I'm doing what I need to do.
The 2016 East Kentucky Leadership Award for Youth Leadership goes to William Lewis Roach Barrett.
The East Kentucky Leadership Conference wrapped up Friday afternoon. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, celebrating those who have made a difference. Several teachers from around the region came together in Kentucky to be awarded for their dedication to more than education. And later in sports, coverage of the final day of the 2016 NFL Draft, including the latest Kentucky Wildcat to hear his name called in the Windy City.
And there are multiple flood warnings in effect for our area, and more rain is in the forecast. I'll have the details in your full forecast next.